Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the regular open meeting of Osoyoos Town Council, Tuesday, December the 9th, 2025 at 2 p.m. in Council Chambers. So I will first of all ask for, there are no late items, Mrs. Robinson?
No, there's not.
Thank you. So could we have a motion, please, to approve the agenda? Thank you. Councillor King, Councillor Bennett, all in favor? And the adoption of some minutes. The regular open minutes from July the 15th, 2025. And the reason for that is that there was something missing on the minutes and it had to be brought back. Am I correct, Mrs. Robinson? Do you want to explain that?
Yes, so with the July 15th minutes, when we uploaded them from our system to a Word document, it missed a motion that had been first three readings. So
Okay.
we've added that back on, and now we just need the minutes re-adopted.
Thank you very much. I knew there was a reason for that. So the regular open minutes of July the 15th, 2025, and the regular open minutes from November the 25th, 2025. Could I have a motion? It's not amended.
No, it is just adopted.
Yeah. So could I, Councillor Poderica, Councillor Cheong, all in favor? Thank you. And we're now going to go on to public and other hearings. And this, I will now read the notes for the public hearing. This is a public hearing pertaining to flood mitigation plan implementation. In accordance with Section 464 of the Local Government Act, this public hearing is convened to allow interested parties to make representation to Council respecting Official Community Plan Amendment number 1375.10 and the Zoning Amendment Bylaw number 1395.10. Each person present who believes that their interests are affected by the proposed bylaws will be given a reasonable opportunity to be heard. We will hear from staff on the matter, then receive public input, then Council will deliberate the issue before the public hearing adjourns. We will now hear a presentation from staff on the public hearing matter. Mr. Garrish.
Great, thank you. Just confirming everybody can see my display screen.
Thank you, we can see it.
Perfect. All right, I just have a few slides that'll give some quick background for anybody who may be in attendance and is interested in the bylaws. So just a quick background to start. So the town zoning bylaw has historically established the floodplain for Osoyoos Lake at 287 meters, Geodetic Survey of Canada datum. And you can see the images on right. The town relies on historic floodplain maps that were prepared by the province in the late 1980s and 1990s. And ideally, as a rule of thumb, floodplain maps which should be or would be updated every 15 to 20 years. So given the age of these maps, arguably they're long overdue for an update. And so that's actually what the amendment bylaws, as council is aware, are before you proposing today. So in terms of the zoning bylaw, amendment bylaw number 1395.10 is proposing to make that change to the Osoyoos Lake floodplain from 280.7 to 280.8 meters GSC datum. And as council is aware from previous discussions in that committee, that information is based on up-to-date mapping that was prepared by the Okanagan Basin Water Board as part of their floodplain assessment of the valley in 2019. And so apart from the text amendment, it's also being proposed that the floodplain map, which is Schedule 3 to the zoning bylaw, be updated to reflect this new mapping. And this would replace the old provincial maps from the 80s and 90s. It's also being proposed that the OCP floodplain management policies be updated to reflect the completion of this project being the flood mitigation report from 2022 and the recommendations that it contains specific to the town's land use bylaws. The proposed policies for floodplain to be included in the OCP generally encourage suitable mitigation measures, and that these be applied to new development within the established floodplain area. It also speaks to parks, open space, habitat conservation, recreation, etc., being retained for flood protection mitigation purposes. And it also replaces an existing policy in the OCP that speaks to the 280.7 meters and obviously changing that to 280.8 meters. And that's it for my presentation.
Thank you very much, Mr. Garrish. So I will now ask if there has been any correspondence in relation to this.
Your worship, we have received one correspondence from Brock Pendergraft, who opposes the floodplain update, and it is attached to the agenda.
Thank you very much. So we will now receive input on the public hearing matter. Written representations just have been received from Brock. That's the only one. And I will now call on anyone who is here or online that would like has been registered to speak. Is there anyone that is registered or not?
No, we have no one that is registered and we have no one additional online.
Okay, so we just move on to the next section now. Am I correct? We don't.
Your worship,
Can we ask?
you
if
can ask if anyone in the public would like to speak.
They just haven't been registered. Okay, thank you. So is there anyone who would like to speak to this matter that is here in the room or online? I'll ask for a second time. Is there anyone who wishes to speak to this matter? So for a third and last time, is there anyone who wishes to speak? So the speakers list is now closed. And do we need any final remarks from staff or we're okay? All right. Are there any questions or comments from council? Go ahead. Thank you, Councillor.
So really just asking on behalf of Mr. Pendergraft with his correspondence, with the new change of 10 centimeters, if a current house would like to build an addition, how does that affect the new construction of this addition?
Mr. Garrish, can you answer that?
Sure, to the mayor. So any new addition or, even theoretically if a house was to be demolished and replaced with a new one, the expectation would be that they comply with the new floodplain elevation. And if that particular developer or property owner felt that they couldn't apply or comply, there's the option for them to apply for a floodplain exemption. And there's specific requirements that would have to accompany a floodplain exemption request to council, such as an engineering report saying that despite the elevation being X, that if they built to Y, it can be done in a safe manner subject to X, Y, and Z being incorporated into the design of the house.
Are you okay, Councillor Cheong? Okay. Are there any other concerns or questions? No? Then I will officially declare that this public hearing is now adjourned. Council may, without further notice, give whatever effect council believes proper to the representations made at this hearing. Council members will not speak to the public further on this matter until after it has been considered at a convened public meeting of council. Thank you, everyone who attended. And so the recommendation that is presented is that the Town of Osoyoos Official Community Plan Amendment number 1375.110 and the Town of Osoyoos Zoning Amendment Bylaw 1395.10 and the Land Use Procedures Amendment Bylaw be read a third time. And I'm just looking for are you moving that?
I'll move that, Your Worship.
Thank you. Is there a seconder for that? Thank you, Councillor King. Are there any other concerns? Thank you. I will call the question. All in favor? Thank you. Okay. The next thing on our agenda is Grant Evaluation Committee, grant review, and a report from the Director of Community Services. Thank you, Mr. Davis.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Before you is a report in relation to the grant evaluation recommendation. from the committee. The committee itself is comprised of 3 members of council and myself. The recommendation from the committee is based on the established criteria through the terms of reference, which is making sure the application is submitted on time. It's a non-profit status. The event organization within the town of Osoyoos, and the final report from previous year, if applicable, and the appropriate financial request. The Grant Evaluation Committee, the applications that did not meet the policy criteria were not reviewed, meaning if they asked for $1 million or something to that effect, they were just put to the side. Some applicants were provided with lower amounts of funding due to obtaining other grant funding or financial assistance, or something that we would be considerate of people who can't reach that. The committee tried to be fair and provide funding assistance in a balanced and equitable manner. The contingency fund for events or projects later in the year is something that the committee wanted to have, and that is something that we're moving forward with as part of the recommendation. And the organization's working towards sustainability by seeking other sources of funding. The purpose of the grant funding is to assist organizations and not to be the only source of funding for their respective projects. We have a lot of organizations who apply for a very small part, and we have other organizations who apply for the entire project. The Grant Evaluation Committee would like to review the amount of funding that is dedicated to the Community Service Grant Fund annually. Currently, it's at $64,000. This past year, with the fees and charges bylaw, it reflected a new charge for nonprofit groups for facility rentals. These rentals were also brought forward as part of this year as part of requests, and the committee would like to see these funds for community facility rentals as part of the additional funding being asked for the grant annual amount. And administration has prepared a report as an operational discussion item for the budget deliberations. So the Grant Evaluation Committee, we reviewed the Community Service Grant, the Resort Municipality Initiative Grant. Currently this year, based on our numbers, $64,000 for the Community Service Grant and $100,000 for the RMI grant. Just a little note that we had over $130,000 in requests for the Community Service Grant and over $122,000 in requests for the RMI. So the Grant Evaluation Committee came up with the recommendation to support the Community Service Grant in the amount of $54,200 as per the recommendations in the report. And also to recommend to support the Resort Municipality Initiative in the amount of $84,963 as part of the recommendations. And there's a series of recommendations for council's consideration.
Thank you very much, Mr. Davis. I just had a couple of questions before we start. The fact that you didn't use the entire amount for the community service and RMI, is that so that if something comes up later in the year, there's a little bit of money left over to be used there if necessary?
Yes, Madam Mayor, that is one of the reasons.
Yes.
But also being fair and equitable and wanting to move forward based on our policies and how we give that money or approve for that money or make the recommendation for that approval is also a factor.
Thank you. And on the list that we have for the community service grant, there are a couple of them that have 2 stars after the name, and I wasn't sure what that was referring to.
The ones with 2 stars applied for both grants. So they've either applied as a project and then another as a special event through the RMI.
Thank you very much. All right, so
Another question.
yes, go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Certain this gets passed and there's some money left over. Will you actually submit an open second for more funding? Or does it just kind of sit there for the year?
Yes, that would be what we did in previous years. We could do a second round. And again, that would be up to council to make that decision. But we wouldn't have any extra funding at this point in time as per the recommendation. So if new groups, other groups that wanted more funding or a new event that's around the corner and they want assistance with, those are the people that would be, applying for those type of funds.
So if there was a second round of applications at some point, it wouldn't likely be done for 6 months or something. You'd give it some time, or I can't remember when you did it last year.
I think if we did that last year, we did it in a relatively short turnover.
Okay,
But again, that would be up to council if
Sure.
council wanted to do that.
thank you. Okay, so what we have, sorry, did you have a question? Go ahead.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
thank you, Worship. Just a question, thank you, Director Davis, on the RMI ones, I know there's some additional requirements, obviously, the intention of RMI is to support the growth and development of events that are visitor enhancement and off-season, that's majority. I know we have one this year that's coming forward that is kind of peak season, it doesn't have a whole lot of visitor enhancement, it's and I guess the concern here is, there are events that help support businesses in the community in the off season. And I know one of those ones this year just doesn't have the funding that it's looking for in order to take off and succeed. And when we look at these summer events, especially, one of them does draw a fairly significant crowd in the summer weekly. I don't dispute that, and I think it's a great service that they do provide. I'm concerned though, as we start doing these events that are key season, peak season, when facilities are fairly maxed out there, that, this is funding I think that could benefit the community outside of those 2-3 months of the year where we're 100% rolling and moving forward. And I'm hoping, moving forward that that's something that can be reflective of the recommendations.
So what we have before us is several different motions that we would be looking at and for the grant evaluation review. We would normally need to go through each one of these separately, but because there are so many, we have agreed that we might be able to do a grouping or look at them all at once and just remove some of the ones that we might want to ask more questions about. So before we start going through all of this, I would like to see the Beach Volleyball Association in both grants be brought off to be discussed. I would also like to see the Osoyoos Festival Society special events come forward. They have 2 grants as well. And those are the only ones that I wanted to look at. Did you have any others? Did anyone else have any others? Yes, go ahead.
Thank you,
Councillor.
Worship. Just one for me, just for some discussion on the Southern Island Chamber of Commerce for $1,000 towards the Osoyoos Oyster Festival.
Thank you.
From our, currently I think set to come from RMI funding.
Thank you. Okay, so Mrs. Robinson, are you keeping track of the ones that, thank you very much. Yes, go ahead.
I would suggest when you discuss the beach volleyball requests, I would need to recuse myself as
Yes.
I sit on that board. So when that time comes,
Ab-
I will
well-
go into the corner somewhere.
Could, if there are, should we approve the other ones except for these first, and then we can go back and deal with these? Not a problem. Did you have another one? Okay, thank you. And anything else? For a second time, anybody got any others they'd like to bring out? All right, so if we've got those ones, Mrs. Robinson, thank you very much. Can we then have a motion to approve the other grants that have been requested on here? moved and seconded on that, and then we will pass those if that's okay, and just deal with the others separately, okay? Anybody like to make a motion to deal with the other ones? Thank you, Councillor King, Councillor Cheong, all in favor. Thank you very much. Okay, so those ones have now been all right, and we will now go back and deal with the ones that we have pulled out. So, Councillor Cheong, the first one that I've got is the beach volleyball. So,
Do I leave the building?
I think
You will leave the chambers
Yes.
and go into the staff room.
Yeah,
Thank you.
staff room. Thank you. The vault. Thank you. Okay, so the Osoyoos Beach Volleyball Association requested $4,600 for facility rental and equipment from the Resort Municipality Initiative Grant Program. And then the second one is that the council approves or wants to approve the Osoyoos Beach Volleyball Association request for $3,000 for volleyball equipment and enclosed trailer from the Community Service Grant Program. So I guess my concern was that that is probably not a huge group, although they do this on a weekly basis, I think, in July and August. But they've asked for two separate grants here. I'm just wondering if the committee or Mr. Davis has any more information on why these two, or whether the report from the Beach Volleyball Association explained why they needed both of these. And I believe that Councillor Poderica is a little bit concerned about the RMI funding for something that happens in peak season. Could you help us with that, or?
Yes,
Thank you.
Madam Mayor. So I can start, and then if anybody else on the
Sure.
committee would like that. So the requests put forward by the beach volleyball, based on the report that they provided last year, they had something like 28 teams. So they are quite, like there's a lot of them. It's
Mhm.
very popular. It is only one night of the week for sure. But it does start and finishes later in the season, not just for the summer, but technically prior to summer, before the summer solstice.
Okay.
Is that correct? And what they actually asked for, based on their budget, was nominal. One being the trailer for the resort municipal, or for the community service grant, and the other is actually part of their their league, not just for the fact of the league throughout the year, but also the final event,
Okay.
their final, however you would say that, but
Tournament that they
there
have,
is
yeah.
there are lots of people that do show up that are from out of town, even though, as far as I know, they don't get to play, but they do have an opportunity to watch, and it is open to everybody and anybody.
Thank you. So my other question is the enclosed trailer for the volleyball equipment seems like a new ask, and I'm wondering if that is a one-time ask. Is that the idea for this? I mean, in other words, it wouldn't be required next year, or the year after, so it's
that is
just
correct.
once. And I know that we have the event trailer down there as well, so this would obviously be separate, and it would be their own
That is
trailer?
correct.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, thank you. That was what I had to ask. Are you okay with that?
Certainly, Your Worship. Thank you to you, Director Davis. I just highlighting that. My big concern obviously was I don't know where we're seeing the visitor enhancement side of the RMI funding that's going towards beach volleyball. It is maxed out. I think there's 28 teams. They are maxed out. It is locals that play. It's locals that play every week. It's locals that play in their tournament. I don't disagree that it's a great event, and it has a lot of interest in supporting the community. It's been going on for, I think, 15 or 20 years, I believe, in its previous organization. I just concerned about the use of RMI funding towards that. I would support it if it's still community services, but on the RMI aspect, I think there's a better events. There are events in this community that our off season, that would benefit greatly from that visitor enhancement.
Thank you. So can I ask anybody on the committee, would Jim or Myers, would you like to say
Take a
anything? You don't
comment
have
to-
to, I'm just wondering, yeah.
I mean, you gotta understand, the committee took over 2 hours reviewing all these, and it comes down to some hard decisions. There was a criteria, the 5 things where you say nonprofit, financial submitting last year's, and putting a proper budget together. And they passed like all 25, I'll call it 25 points for 5 each. So to me, the amount of people it gets, the population it gets, I think it deserves this funding.
You okay? Yep. All right. Go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I guess to me, when you go down there and you see all the volleyball players and see all the people down there watching them, it's like an entertainment. And for the trailer, I think Zach's probably right. It's one of those things where it's in the middle of the summer. It's not off season like a couple other events. But it's, I think next year we should recommend that this be a committee of the whole. Because this year it was just overwhelming. And you go through them and you see them and you look at them again and you put them up there and you go up, you see some people put in applications they want funding for stuff like for advertising, branding, social media. Well, that's what we give $70,000 a year to Destination Osoyoos. That's who
Yeah.
you go through to do that branding nationally. So when people come and ask for that same funding, it's really confusing when you're on that committee of, okay, which one is really, there's other places to get that kind of funding, although you really like that position, but when you have 4 different people come with different ideas, it's pretty hard. So I have no problem if you think that part of this should go, but you'd have to that would be up to you, I guess, Zach and Sue, to make a recommendation to say, we like this taken off and that added on and we vote on it.
Quite frankly, I don't think I need to change the recommendations. I do understand that the committee and Director Davis spend a great deal of time on this. And I just think I was just looking for some explanation about why these grants were arranged this way. I'm perfectly happy to have the committee bring their recommendations, and I certainly support what the committee does because I'm not part of it. So I'm okay. Yes.
Yeah, then I'd make a motion that we accept the volleyball submission,
For both,
or for both grants, yes.
I, we could. Councillor Poderica, how do you feel on that? Are you okay with or we'll take a vote on it?
Thank you, Richard. I would suggest that we call the question.
All right. So do we need a seconder? Councillor Bennett, you're seconding that, so that we accept both the RMI and the grant and aid for the beach volleyball. All in. Oh, do we want to do it separately?
No.
Okay, we could do it
You can
separately.
do it.
We'll-
separately,
let's-
or you could do it as
As together,
together.
we could. So you prefer to do it separately?
I would prefer to
Okay.
see where it's possible.
All right, so it's both together and it's seconded. All in favor? Against? Thank you. That has been noted. Thank you very much. The next one. Yeah, we'll get them. And the next one is I think we'll look at the Festival Society. And I see that they have, and I'm a member of the Festival Society, but not on the Board of Directors. Am I all right to stay here, or should I be off? Should I recuse myself? I'm just a member of festivals, but I'm not on the board.
Mayor McCordoff, if you are on the committee and you feel that it is a conflict of interest, then it is up to you to make that decision.
Well, I think maybe just to be fair, I will.
Okay. Your
you.
acting mayor, let me
I
go.
think it's Myers.
Myers. Counselor, just one, just Counselor Chong. Return to the meeting at 2:30 p.m. Let me just.
I'm not sure what, basically because, she asked about festivals, but there's no question, there's nothing on the table about the festivals except that the mayor didn't want to get involved in it.
So at this time, we have two of the motions for the Festival Society that were brought out of the large motion that we made. So we need to vote on them today. If there's no questions or concerns, the council can continue to be making the recommended motions, or if you guys choose, you can discuss it. So Mayor McCordup has just recused herself from this decision.
Hey, Councillor King? have a
Yeah, I
question?
think the question was though, it was the mayor that brought him out, so it would be interesting to have her input to see what her concern was and then send her back out while we discuss it.
I'm happy to go get Mayor McCordup.
If I may just interject, I think one of the reasons she just wanted to remove that, as or Amy had said, is just to review what their actual recommendation was, and to see if there's something that, or maybe she did wanted to ask a question, but I think it was just to review what they actually were recommending for those both grants.
Gerald, Director Davis, my apologies for missing your comment on that. Mayor McCordup wanted confirmation and clarification on the two motions that are on the floor with regards to one being in the off season for funding request and one being for the actual Cherry Fiesta. So she just wanted clarification on what they were actually for, the two grants. Your mic.
Sure, yeah, and I can explain.
Counselor Bennett, sorry, could you please hit your mic? Thank you.
Okay, sorry. I think we should look at these in two separate,
Yes,
discuss one in the RMI and then vote on it and then do the other one.
yes, and just to give everybody a heads up, the items that were requested through the RMI had to do with the events that are not in the shoulder, that are in the shoulder season, I should say. That being Desert Dip, Easter Extravaganza, and the Christmas Light Up, and it had to do with just the expenses related to that, to those events as support in that shoulder season. That was the RMI. Their request for this year was 10,800, and the request was provided for 10,800 for the RMI.
So does council want to discuss that further at this time or vote on
So I'll make a motion that we support the RMI funding.
it? Seconder? Councillor Cheong? All in favor? Passed. Okay, now we'll move on to the other funding.
The community service grant, what was listed as their budget was $67,005. Their request was 11,000, and it was for municipal facilities for the events. And the recommendation from the committee was $10,000.
Any questions? Motion,
Yeah, I'll
Okay.
make a motion that we accept that.
seconder?
All in favor? Yes.
Unanimous.
Thank you. Okay, the next one that was removed was the Osoyoos Oyster Festival. Is that correct? With the Chamber of Commerce for the Osoyoos? Was you,
Yes.
go ahead, please speak to it.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Worship.
Go ahead.
Just reflecting on my previous comments on RMI funding, and this is a request that speaks to what RMI is, and that is ensuring that we enhance visitor experience outside of peak season. This is an event that's previously existed, disappeared for a while and has come back, and it hits April. It is one that is supported and by the South Carolina Chamber of Commerce. And there's a number of local businesses that do partake and have taken event, and we'd like to see this, I would like to see this event continue to grow and succeed. And I'd like to make a motion that we increase that fund to $4,000 from the 1,000 that's been provided, but based off our mark funding.
Are you seconding that or no? You like, all right. Could we have, so it's been moved, but could we ask, rather than have it being second, to have an explanation? Because I'm sure there would be, there is with other ones. Could you speak to it?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I think in this one, it was, when you take a look at it, and the funding again is not for advertising, branding and social media. So basically, I think if this would have been written different, but when we get it and I look at it and it's asking for $4,000 to do what we pay Destination Soys to do, we're just doubling that's where that money should be coming from for the branding. Now, if for something else to run the event, that'd be different. But when we get a last hour and I look at it and I just thought, we can't pay for advertising, branding, social media. That's what we pay Destination Soys for. So I don't have a problem. I think the event's good. And if it's rechanged, I don't have a problem voting in favor of giving some funding. Just like I can't do it for advertising, branding and social media.
Councillor King, do you have something to add?
Yeah, I guess just for clarity, the request was $5,650, not 4,000. We do have a bit of money left. We had the same discussion on the committee about how this money is going to be used for, and basically for advertising. And we felt strongly this event should be supported by Destination Osoyoos. But I guess in hindsight now, I got no problem raising it a little bit, but I can't see giving them the full 5,600.
Director Davis, do you have anything to add about their application and, or not? I wasn't sure.
No, Madam Mayor, those were the discussions, due to what the ask was, in terms of the advertising and the media and whatnot. But if their application could show that there were other expenses besides those, which I know there are, yes, that could easily be changed or possibly supported by the actual funding and the criteria, for sure, yes.
So it sounds like that the application needs revision, and I'm not sure how we deal with that today. Go ahead.
Thank you. From my perspective, during our discussions with the grant committee, like I am in full support of this event. The budget documents that were provided seemed a little thin, and we needed a bit more detail as to like what would the breakdown of advertising be going to? Is it more just, again, is it purely social media? And then it's okay, well, how much does DO contribute in terms of helping with that? And it kind of evolved into a larger conversation of, when we have nonprofit groups and groups who want to create these awesome events, how are we utilizing the local resources we have efficiently? Because if we're using those resources efficiently, then we shouldn't really, we can use our grant funding dollars better for events that, and like in events that are in their infancy, and use that as seed money to help those events grow, right? Because over the past 3 years, I would say we have shifted a large focus towards sustainability. So grant requests should be decreasing every single year. But that's where I kind of struggled with this one. But I do support increasing it, but I would also like a bit more information.
So if there is a motion on the floor, but it hasn't been seconded, that it be raised to 4,000. Sounds like there might be an appetite for a bit of a raise, but not 4,000. Would you like to leave your motion the way it is, or would you like to adjust it? I'm not trying to put words.
No
in
worries, thank you,
but-
Worship. I know I believe Councillor King made a comment that he wouldn't support the 5650. I would like to keep it at the 4,000 as proposed at this time.
Okay, thank you.
I didn't suggest to move it up to 50.
Yeah.
Couldn't support it 56.
Yeah.
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 So
I-
it's been moved that, first of all, that it's at 4,000. Now what we're looking for is a seconder.
If Council Poderica is open to a friendly amendment, could we make it subject to a more detailed budget breakdown as to the usage of this grant funding?
Yes, Your Worship, thank you. Yeah, I support that friendly amendment there as well.
All right.
If that's the case, then I would second that motion.
I got another question, I guess, because someone's in attendance that submitted this or was part of submitting this. We also got an email saying this event couldn't happen without the full amount. So I'm wondering what would happen if we do increase it, say to 4,000, but the group needs the whole 5,600. Does the event go on or does it get canceled? Can I ask
I don't think so. But what I would suggest is that if we pass this, it is subject to having the applicant provide more information. Am I reading that correctly? So it was the 4,000, but it would be subject to having a revised application.
That still doesn't, sorry, Madam Mayor, that still doesn't get the full amount. She
No,
could, the
that's
person
true.
puts a bit more information. Doesn't guarantee she's gonna get 5,600. It would still be 4,000 only.
Right, so we understand that, but this is where it sits at the moment. There is extra money in that account which can be adjusted. So it's moved and seconded that it is $4,000 depending on providing an updated grant application. All right, I will call a question. All in favor? Against? No, that's carried. Thank you very much. Yes, go ahead.
That one, thank you, Worship. Just to clarify things, is there a timeline for the committee to receive that information? Just considering we're going into Christmas holidays, the event is in April, I believe, and the organizers would like to proceed with, I imagine they're advertising and ticket sales for their event rather soon.
Director Davis, could you give us an idea of that?
I'm not sure if how we expedite it, but and maybe I'll look at our CAO for this or our corporate officer. But if the information was given to administration and it was what it needed to be, then we just move forward right away.
Could there be a Zoom meeting of the committee at some point? Would that work after we got the information? Would that work? Mr. Isning, what do you think?
Well, like, Your Worship, I guess motion's a little vague. If information comes in, yeah, who is to determine whether it's sufficient or not? And then I think the other issue is I think there is timing issue, seeing that this one is a very early event. So I guess the motion right now indicates more information, and to me, how I would interpret that, it has to go back to the committee and then back to council. That's how I would interpret it. And so that means that the earliest that this could potentially be approved is our next meeting is officially January
Mrs.
second Tuesday in January.
So which day of the week is, is the date for that, Mrs. Robinson? January the 13th? Is that correct?
Yeah. Ms.
Thank
Robinson,
you.
can you
So if the application was in before Christmas, before staff holidays, or would that help? And then it could be, the committee could get together at some point, be it in January, and then bring it to council? Yes, go ahead, Johnny.
can you read the motion back, please?
Of course. So that council increased the Southern Okanagan Chamber of Commerce request to $4,000 for the Osoyoos Oyster Festival for advertising, branding, and social media from the Resort Municipality Initiative Grant Program, subject to a revised/updated application.
The motion reads that the application itself does not need to be approved, that we just need additional information, which is perfect for me. In this case, once we receive the additional information, the grant would be approved. There was nothing in the motion that says,
And
no, well, I
It-
mean, the whole purpose from my perspective with the friendly amendment was increased transparency as to where this money is going, not that, you know, we were going to take this information and then reevaluate. I support this event and
Mhm.
we have supported this event. I would just like more detail as to where that grant funding is going.
Director Bennett, Councillor.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I agree. I think that basically if we approved it and the committee is here and we just, hey, to me, it's Director Davies would be the one that could approve it. I don't think it has to come back to the directors, another meeting, then back to council. We've already approved it based on that decision. And I trust Director Davies could do that.
But you did approve it at $1,000. That's what the committee has approved. So
But we've now made it 4,000.
yes,
So I'm quite satisfied myself of Director Davies looking at that and approving because he's. I don't
Director
think we have to come
Davis,
back to
are
the
you all
committee.
right with that, or
I
or
am o-
would you prefer to have more input?
No, I'm okay with that, but I would like to revisit the actual motion.
Okay.
Because the motion says right now that it's going to be for social media, advertising, et cetera. The
Mhm.
reason for the increase would be for other funds,
Yes,
not just to show us how you're spending money for advertising, because that's already been done.
so in
um,
other words, take out the advertising, branding, and social media and come up with, yeah,
Why you need that extra
Extra money.
funding for other purposes besides that. That was the discussion that I thought was there.
now, you made the motion, and are you all right with taking that out and having an updated application? Or would you prefer to see that still in there? The advertising, branding, and social media is what's included in this. And that's, seems to be the area of concern, that it should be something other than that.
I would support, I'm okay with removing wait, I lost my notes here.
Sorry about this. This is a bit confusing. We haven't gone through this before, so we need to be careful.
I mean, can we leave it at for the Osoyoos Oyster Festival from the Resort Municipality Initiative Grant Program?
Yeah.
I'm fine with that. Are you okay with that? Taking out those three words?
Just,
Okay.
just for a point of clarity, can we once again have the motion reread?
Yes, with those three words
No,
taken out,
so
please.
no, just the
No,
the
right.
motion reread.
Okay, so here we go. So that council increased the South Okanagan Chamber of Commerce request to $4,000 for the Osoyoos Oyster Festival for advertising, branding, and social media from the Resort Municipality Initiative Grant Program, subject to a revised, updated application.
So that is confusing because this was the reason why there wasn't enough and we want an updated application.
Sorry
Yes.
to interrupt.
Yeah, sure.
It sounds like we would like to rescind this motion. We would like to redo a new motion, providing that there is a new revised and updated application form submitted. So let's, if council is all good with it, let's move forward with rescinding this one that we have, and then we'll redo the next one, and then council can move forward with it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That makes sense. So is there somebody who would like to rescind this? Thank you. We will rescind this one. And is there a seconder? Okay, Councillor Poderica seconding that. All in favor? Thank you. Now, the new motion.
The council approves the Southern Chamber of Commerce for $4,000 for the Osoyoos Oyster Festival from the Resort Municipality Initiative Grant Program. Subject to revised financials being
Revised application.
revised application being provided to the committee.
Could we put a date on that? Could the revised application be
Administration.
by next Friday?
Do you want to committee or administration? To administration.
Okay. Okay, and could it be a date put on it so the application is in before Christmas? Would that work? So how about Friday the 19th? Or as soon as possible, but maybe late, we don't want. Okay, I would suggest the 19th. What, I'm sorry. I know we're jumping
Sorry,
all over
just
corporate officers having a
confirming that
fit.
You would like this by December 19th?
Yes,
Just confirming that right now.
the application.
Yeah.
2025. By end of day, business
And
day.
then if it's not submitted by the 19th, it's a no-go.
All right, so if we had it moved and seconded, that we go with that and we will call the question, all in favor. Thank you very much. Now, we have one more to deal with. Councillor King, you wanted to bring up one about the All Hallows Festival?
Yes, I do, Madam Mayor. Thank you. It's kind of interesting to go through these. We have the criteria, like the 5 things, and they all meet the 5. So then it's just deciding on the money. We've never really had a discussion on what these groups really do. I mean, at their events we do, but what do they do as an association? So do we know anything about this group per se? If you understand.
Yes, I do. So we did receive their bylaws. They are a registered nonprofit society and what they actually do in the community. And they do promote like the arts in general. We have provided other funding to the Wyatt Arts as part of our RMI program, our new strategy, our strategy from 2025 in terms of the enhancement of art. And we gave them $12,500, and they were in the process of completing a project for that, something completely separate. But that's exactly what they do. And they are part of the group that meets on a regular basis to discuss, grant funding in general. They take part in that quite often. So they are out there and they do numerous things for that for sure.
And they were part of, that group was part of the tourism master plan, group that met several times. Okay.
No,
Did you
I just, I mean, I've got no problem with this sitting on the committee. They did ask for 15 and we brought it down to 12. I guess I go back to the comment that Councillor Cheong made. A lot of this money is just supposed to be seed money and not keep giving them the same amount to do the same event every year. And that's the part the committee struggles with, to separate moving forward. Like a lot of these, just here's the money, here's the event. We know the event is going 10 years. They get the money, they do an event, and they're great events. But how do they move over to start raising some of their own money so we can sort of give them less and give more groups money?
Go ahead.
And this is also a discussion during that committee meeting is, do we form a policy where if the grant funding is greater than 75% of the entire budget of this event, do we increase oversight? Like, do we have a staff member do regular checks as to how is this grant, how are the grant dollars being used? Is it being used efficiently? Is it effective? What metrics are being taken as to how successful the event is? So I guess that opens the floor for discussion as to, is that a policy that would be helpful that council would want to support? Because there are a few events here where the the town is essentially funding, and
Mhm.
there is almost zero sustainability, and there's no trend of decreasing funding requests. So if that's the case, then I believe a staff member should be allocated some staff resources at least be allocated to these events for oversight.
Can I ask, there is a report that is required at the end of the event, am I correct? And it is sent in. How is that report received? What information do they need on there? Just where they spent the money? Or can
yeah.
you help? Thank you.
So the RMI asks if they do any kind of survey, if they actually can tell us what they use for accommodations or food, etc. Like when they bring an event here. Some do very good reporting, some do just general basic stuff. The community service grant, we asked them to give us an accounting of how they spent their money if they've actually done it, as they said they would, because it was an actual motion of council. We just received today funding from last year's from the sailing club that they returned funding that they didn't utilize. And that was the first time that's ever happened. So
Go ahead, Councillor.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I don't think I'd really like to see staff waste more time doing this, but if we could write up some type of criteria or something that the committee next year could look at on top of how they evaluate now, and I don't really know how that would look like, but that would be better than staff time.
Councillor, Councillor Bennett, did you have?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yeah, just to follow up on that, I think we should refer this to the committee of the whole to look at the whole funding so that all council's involved in it. Because it's hard when you got three and you come, then there's two, and then how do you really vote when three people have already bought it forward? Just doesn't seem right. You feel like, and you go through it all over again. You've already went through hours of it, and then you come back and we do it here again and then try to bring everybody up to speed. So I think, I don't know how you do that, but I'd like to recommend that next year, this committee becomes part of the committee of the whole. And we look before the funding of recommendation of what's a better way to do it.
And I think, good suggestions, and perhaps because it's getting a little more complicated for both of these grants, that maybe we should bring it back at some point to the committee of the whole. We certainly have to deal with this particular thing first. Would you be agreeable to that? You go ahead.
Thank you, Richard. Previous conversation with, or comment by Councillor Cheong on the 75%. Realizing some of these larger events now, as they've grown, are more than just 1 day or 2 days. They've got some, added expenses. We know with WANA, both their events, they bring in private security for the visitors. They bring, obviously the sound system costs, and we have those larger signature events that continue, like Festival Society, that are a lot of work and a lot of effort, and they recur every year. And I know in the past, council's had a conversation about what the signature events look like and larger events look like, and maybe there's two classifications moving forward as to those events that do have those added costs in there that don't always, we don't see in a smaller event or a smaller request, that maybe there's opportunity for some cost saving in some of those larger events as we move forward, because these are requests that we see every year, and it does take a lot of effort for them to organize and set up, and a lot of money for them to ensure that they fill that weekend full if they're going for those larger lengths. So I think moving forward, as we look at the committee, or as we look at the committee request, and B, that we look at those signature events and those larger events that have those added costs involved, and find some opportunities there to find some savings for all user groups and moving forward. That's just what I wanted to add. Thank you.
So my assumption is that when the applications come in, and the group looks at it, are you satisfied yourselves? Obviously, you agreed to support this event with that money. Are you satisfied that all of those kinds of questions are answered? Or are you thinking that we do need a review of the application process? Councillor Cheong, you look like you're
Deep in
thinking.
thought, yes.
Deep thinking.
One of the things we did implement was as objective as possible scoring evaluation criteria, where we have point allocations for value to community, quality of application description, sustainability. And of course, like with any committee, any process, it's a living document, right? And everything always gets updated as we learn from lessons. So maybe, as the committee, we update this document. Maybe we weight sustainability higher in terms of point total. My understanding is we do have staff member who does have expertise in large scale event planning as well. And my suggestion for having more staff oversight isn't so much to have a watchdog, but to have more staff resources, because the other point of concern is we're seeing a downwards trend towards volunteerism, and the sustainability in terms of having volunteers run these events and the blood, sweat, and tears they put in. I worry that we won't have the resources in the future. So we need to create maybe a framework or a model where we can combat the burnout, where the volunteers feel more supported. And again, it's not so much that, we're calling you to the principal's office. It's none of that. It's more so we have staff expertise. Let's help each other and collaborate so that we can elevate these events higher and more efficiently.
Okay, where are we at? Do we have, so what we need to do is this event was supported was it 12,000? Okay, and that was from the committee's recommendation. Should we are you moving that we continue with this? You're seconding it? Okay, I'll ask the question. All in favor of supporting this? Thank you. That's carried. Have we dealt with all of them? Okay, we've made motions on all of them. So thank you. That means that we have now finished the Grant Evaluation Committee grant review. Are we done with this?
So,
Uh-oh.
well, Your Worship, just
Yes.
because I think there was a lot of constructive dialogue
Yeah.
with regards to the process, and I know it's got to be difficult to look at all these applications and end up being the one that says no to a really,
Mhm.
worthwhile, excellent event. But I am hearing that there seems to be additional support or discussion required, and so I guess I'm just taking that back as administration bring back maybe this whole topic to a committee of the whole where we can have some fruitful discussion and idea sharing on it, or is there additional specific instructions that you'd like to provide through a motion, or as far as what you'd like to see, or just basically administration coming back with a policy and facilitating, I guess, a discussion on what some of the pinch points are, and have a discussion, and then we can come back again, refine it, type thing. So
I seem to think that we have a good group working. We have a policy. I think maybe we just need to have a look at it again at some point. There isn't a rush on it because we don't do this till the fall again. And just have a look and see, considering the discussion today, is there anything that we would need to adjust a little bit on that policy rather than redoing the whole thing? I don't think that's necessary. Jim? No.
No, like I'm not suggesting that we redo the whole policy. I would just like to see what other municipalities are doing, because we are getting to a point where, as Council Poderica had indicated, like we have signature events. which are lumped in with other events, and they're just on different tiers of participation. And I'd like to see what other municipalities are doing for those types of signature events. Like, is there more staff integration? Like, or do more volunteer groups integrate better? Like, it's just there's no such thing as a new idea. So let's see what's tried and true, and try to take those lessons and apply it to our specific scenario.
Okay, thank you. Councillor King, do you have something to
I
add?
guess the biggest one is about sustainable in our policy really has to be looked at because it's hard to define. I mean, it's simple to say sustainable. Sooner or later, they don't ask for any money. But as we've seen over the years, they keep asking for the money or more. So I think that's a key component that really has to be looked at.
So my thinking is the reason that the money is being asked, particularly for this one, the Wide Arts, is that they are bringing in very talented musicians and aerialists and puppeteers from around the, I think they're mostly from BC, but they could be from farther afield. And we don't have them here, and therefore that's the cost for those. That's what I would think. Councillor Bennett?
So I'd like to move that we do as CEO originally just mentioned, that we have them come back with a report and then we do this as a committee of the whole where we can sit around and not sit here all afternoon with the public having to, this is more of a committee of the whole kind of discussion. And we're just gonna keep going around in circles. So I think we should.
So how about maybe just a suggestion that administration bring back a report on our grant evaluation criteria, that's the proper terminology, or terms of reference, and to include some models from other resort municipalities, for comparison.
So
For
moved.
I
discussion
think
at committee
that's
of the
good.
whole.
Okay,
Second.
So moved.
that's so moved. He's moved it, seconded. Thank you, Councillor Poderica, all in favor. Thank you very much. Gerald, I hope you're not taking Christmas holidays because you have a couple things to do. I'm only kidding. You just have, I see you writing lots of notes here. Okay, so are we good with this topic? We're done. Let's move on. We're on to Proposed Professional Reliance Act, Bill 21M216. And I think Mr. Garrish has been waiting for quite a while. Mr. Garrish, are you still there?
Yeah.
Chris?
We put him to sleep.
We did. Um, could we, is there any way we can contact him? He's probably gone doing something else while he's waiting for us. And I believe we need him for the next one too, the parcel coverage at Meadowlark.
Turn a video.
Oh, there he is. Mr. Garrish.
Sorry about that.
I'm sorry, it took quite a bit longer with the last report. So would you like to talk to us about the proposed Professional Reliance Act, Bill M216?
Happy to.
Thank you.
Just gonna try sharing my screen again. And hopefully, I didn't test it properly. Let's see how this goes. Whoops. Are you guys able to see my main screen, or are you seeing my screen that might have the notes slide?
Currently, we're seeing that you're trying to share the screen and it says double click to enter full screen mode. So it's black right now
Huh,
on our end.
it's interesting.
Try stopping the share.
I'll try again. All right, how's that?
Still the same.
Huh. What is going on? Sorry, I'm having technical challenges here. Yeah, I'm gonna try again. Screen one.
No, Chris, oh, there it is. We saw it for a sec.
Again.
Again, all right. Let's try this again.
Ah, thank you. Go ahead.
So just for the record, I did the exact same thing for the 5th time. So 5th time was the charm. I don't know what was going on there, but my apologies. So I'm going to assume that there's some familiarity with council on the Professional Reliance Act. So my PowerPoint slides reflect that, and they're not extensive, and it's a very high level presentation. So I'll just start with some background. As I'm sure council is aware, this is provincial legislation. It's being considered by the legislature in Victoria, which is in session right now. And it's a private members bill that was introduced on October 21st, 2025. And according to the debate records, the intent of the legislation is the streamlining of development projects and reduction of administrative costs in the approval of development projects by local governments. And so how the act, or the proposed act, is proposing to do that is to basically prohibit local governments from requiring a peer review of a report that's been prepared by a certified professional under the Professional Governance Act, which again is another piece of provincial legislation. And I'm summarizing here, but the fields that are covered by that act are architects, engineers, biologists, ecologists, etc. So from our perspective in the planning department, obviously that has big implications for us. I think the main intent or thrust of the legislation is land use applications. And yes, there is a dedicated section of the Local Government Act that speaks to land use applications, but there's a wide variety of other permit types that might actually be impacted by this. First ones that come to mind obviously are building permits, soil permits that might require a geotech engineer. And there's even a question, and I know this isn't an issue for the town because you don't have a heritage bylaw, but assessments in relation to heritage buildings or properties, especially if those have been prepared by an architect who's covered under the Governance Act. So there's a wide range of applications that might be impacted. This could be rezonings, development variance permits, temporary use permits, board of variance, and anything where your typical assessment for hazard lands, geotechnical, floodplain, or environmental assessment might be required. And, again, just some more background context. I think what the province is getting at is something that they introduced and promoted 20 years ago, which was the professional reliance model. And that's basically a regulatory approach where the government sets the parameters and then relies on professionals in that field to meet it. And, I can understand the frustration of some of the professionals that, feel their work is being questioned by people unqualified. But, the flip side of that argument is that sometimes, well, I shouldn't say sometimes, very rarely do you get it right on the first go around. And constructive feedback or criticism on a report, I think generally should be accepted and not ruled out, which is essentially what the Professional Reliance Act is saying, that there shall be no overview or review of these professional reports going forward. So obviously from a local government perspective, and I think these are common issues that local governments across the province have been raising since this act was introduced and received readings. I've summarized them really quickly here. There's more explanation in the report that's before you today. But the loss of flexibility to review professional reports, especially if there's questionable information or assumptions that are contained within those. The potential, even though this is supposed to streamline development, we're concerned obviously that it might create uncertainty and delays in the improvement of new development, particularly where a professional report is challenged, and the only avenue for challenge is the Office of Governance. I can't remember the full name. We're assuming that's a provincial agency that is not equipped currently, may not be equipped in future, given past experience with the province and how it approaches these things, to deal with that kind of resolution conflict between professionals and local governments. So that's obviously a major concern. Another concern too is liability, especially when a professional report has made faulty assumptions. and that might adversely affect development or use of land going forward. And obviously for local governments, that's always a concern because we're usually the last one standing. And the professional may be gone, the developer may be gone, but we're still here. And I don't claim to be a legal professional, but I've heard it explained numerous times in seminars over the years that the courts, even though the liability on the local government might only be 5% in terms of the problem that was created or caused, in terms of payout, it's not uncommon for the local government to have to share the whole burden of that payout. And there's concerns that the way this Professional Reliance Act is written, it's not adequately providing suitable coverage or safety or guarantees for local governments to avoid that liability, even though it's saying we can't review these professional reports. Again, the fourth dot point, just an absolute lack of engagement with local governments. This was just sprung on us through this introduction of a private members bill. No consultation with ministries, First Nations, local governments. And in reading some of the other advisories that have been published since, it's our understanding that there was an agreement between the local, provincial government and the UBCM that these kind of surprises would not happen. So it's kind of disappointing to see that this is how it's come up. And then the last one is just the contemplation of mandatory application processing timelines. Basically, what you see in that last dot point on the screen is what's in this act. And so we don't really know what it means. But we suspect that if the province is concerned about delays in local government approvals, establishing processing timelines and mandatory ones, they may set a 6 or 8 week period in which a local government has to render a decision. And if it doesn't, then, you know, I'm hypothesizing here, but really the most effective tool that I've seen used in other jurisdictions is that application is then a deemed approval because the local government took too long to render a decision. So that presents a lot of challenges, especially for smaller local governments in the province that don't have the resources of, say, some of the bigger lower mainland or island local governments. And so in light of those concerns and the more details that are in the report before you, so staff are recommending that the letter, which I think is part of your package today, be sent to the Select Standing Committee, basically outlining those concerns for their consideration. And that a copy of that letter also be sent to UBCM and the Minister for Housing and Municipal Affairs, just so they're aware of where the town is on that. There had been an original deadline, which you may have heard was December 2nd for submissions, but that's subsequently been extended. So Council still has time to get these comments into the committee. It's now January 6, 2026. And that's it for my presentation. And I know there's a lot in the report and there's a lot of implications in relation to this legislation, but I'll try my best to answer any questions that the council might have.
Thank you very much, Mr. Garrish. I'm just going to, from two other committees that I'm on, Okanagan Basin Water Board, I have supported their letter that has gone to the government, very similar to this. The Water Board is very concerned about this, and we had talked about it at a meeting. I have also voted in favor of this as a director of the regional district, and we had a meeting last week. This was brought up, and it was voted unanimously that we would send the letter to the government. And so I could certainly support the town of Osoyoos sending a letter as well. But I will see what the rest of council has to say. Go ahead, Councillor King.
I'll support option 1.
Thank you. Is there a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Bennett. Are there any questions about this? There's quite a lot of information here, and I thank Mr. Garrish for putting together a report because he's had to do this a few times. So all in favor? Thank you very much. Next is the zoning bylaw amendment, parcel coverage at Meadowlark Development. And I know that we've been through this many times. This is, the recommendation is that this bylaw be adopted. Do you have anything to add before we suggest that, Mr. Garrish?
No, not at this step in the process. Usually when it comes up for adoption, we've said everything we need to say. So I'll turn it back over to council.
Thank you very much. So could we have a motion, Councillor Cheong?
Move option 1.
Yes,
Councillor King seconding that. All in favor? Thank you very much. And next we have the highlighted changes. Oh, wow. for the general operating budget. Um, Is Mr. Risley going to talk or Mrs. Keith? Okay, okay. Could you turn on your mic? Thank you.
So good afternoon. The purpose of this report is just to go through the 2026-2030 general operating budget at a high level. Everyone has received the report in their package, which details things in more clarity. So any questions that can come up, we can deal with them at the end, if that's okay. So the overview is that the budget for the general operating budget are presented with a moderate increase. The impact to users, real property levy proposed for municipality will increase in 2026 by $13.35 per month per average single family home. The property levy, it does include the RCMP tax reposition. As some general statements, I think everyone is aware, listening to the news, we have global economic volatility. With the introduction of tariffs, it's created some uncertainty in the economic market. Provincial government is also in a financial deficit situation, and we are seeing signs that there's a reduction in grant opportunities. The provincial and federal governments have announced they're working on significantly higher capital projects. Therefore, we may result in a division or diversion of funds from smaller local municipal projects. CPI is incorporated into the budget. Our QP labor contract is also incorporated, as well as to note that historically we have had an underinvestment in critical infrastructure, which presents a demand on our property tax and utility fees. The budget approach used for 2026 is the current projected budget is to incorporate inflationary pressures, contractual obligations, and the infrastructure deficit. The objective is to align other fees and program revenues with cost recoveries. We would like to transition to capital funding with reserves and grants as opposed through operational revenues, and complete all remaining asset management plans for the development of an investment model that will indicate required contributions and withdrawals from designated reserves. Within this budget, there are a few exceptions where costing has been over and above the CPI and the label agreements, what we've already discussed. First being administration, we've increased it to support office supplies, postage, and advertising to the tune of 60,000. Most of the increases are directly attributed to the quarterly billing we have done, recycling audits, as well as water restrictions and advertising needed to meet legislative requirements. The additional costs are calculated at 31 cents per month per resident. Materials and maintenance has also increased in all departments as a result of aging infrastructure relating to buildings and the rising cost of consumable materials such as oil and gas and construction materials. Building maintenance alone has increased by over 30,000. Another 20,000 increase was included for road markings and 15,000 for materials and supplies for operations. The overall impact is 59 cents per month per resident. Contract services includes engineering, legal, and audit services, as well as community service program instructors. We've increased this budget line as well. Just to bring note to the program instructor accounted for about 100,000 of it, included with legal. The town's legal budget alone was increased by 20,000, while the program instructor account was really reclassed from a miscellaneous expense item to a dedicated account. The net financial impact of that reclassification is minimal. Utility and data processing has both increased due to the increases put forward by Fortis and TELUS. Data processing has also increased by 25,000 as the town requires continued upgrades to our IT services. The last of our exception is protective services, which is RCMP. We've increased due to a much needed addition to the RCMP force within the town. The town has a number of vacancies over the past several years. To restore the force back to normal levels, Council has already authorized the addition of 2 new members for the 2026-2027 fiscal, bringing the total membership up to 8 members. Our current contract states 6. The annual budget set for policing is 1.7 million as compared to 2025, which was 1.4. Reserve allocations was increased by 1.15 million to fund programs as directed by council in prior years. I put this as an exception, but there is no real financial impact. So the planning and development budget we see is really about just redistribution of expenses. In 2026, administration wishes to add a director position to manage the planning, building inspection, business licensing, and short-term rental functions. Although both the planning and building inspection services are completed by contracts through the RDOS, additional oversight is required. Hiring a director of planning will have minimal financial impact as salary expenses will increase. However, contracted hours through our contract will decline. This slide just shows a breakdown of our operating expenses per month per resident, as already discussed in the previous slides. Outside of general operating, we have just our debt charges. They have not increased. It's the same debt amount we had from last year carried forward. Transfer to capital has increased by $5.70 per month per resident. Transfer to other governments, it shows a decline here, but really it's included within our property tax, and it's just a straight in and out based on the PILTs we have, payment in lieu of taxes. Proposed capital expenditures are $4.74, which comes to a summary of $13.35 per month. Capital projects, as with utilities, this is really a year of catch-up. There are 23 carry-forward projects totaling $3.5 million to be completed in 2026. The full 5-year plan, 2026 to 2030 capital plan, stands at $29 million. Reserves is the kind of the catchword of the budget process. We have historically underfunded our reserves. It is imperative that we continued our reserve allocations to meet asset renewal. With the introduction of asset management investment plans, administration and council will have better insight into how much funding will be needed to be secured on an annual basis. Currently, our reserve funding allocation is as follows. These different reserves were set forward in prior budgets, and then what we have done is just did the increase based on what we've been pretty much instructed by council to do in the past. Looking forward, outlook and risks, property taxation has a direct impact on household disposable income. The town has taken a conservative approach to both property taxes and utilities in the past, as compared to other BC municipalities. While recent adjustments have come forward and have not been popular amongst residences, Osoyoos' taxes and fees remain comparatively modest. This chart was brought forward and it just shows the municipal property tax for the average single-family home within our region. And this is municipal tax portion only, and it shows that we are second from the bottom, and the average rate in the middle there at $2,342. This is another reflection of a comparative, but this is RMI municipalities of the 13. And again, we show close to the bottom where the average comes in at 2,679. An interesting stat that if we were to come closer to the average, it would be an additional revenue into the town's funds of over $7 million. I wanted to put both charts up here. This also shows our region as well as RMI, but this is kind of all in with the exclusion of school. So as you know, on your tax bill, you not just pay the municipal, we collect taxes for other agencies, such as the regional district, regional hospital, BCA assessment, MFA, and others. So again, this shows the total dollar amount, and it shows where Osoyoos lists as opposed where the average is as well. Similar to the previous slide, we're at the bottom or the average in comparison to the average. More on our forward-looking and our potential risks. It is anticipated that all asset management plans will confirm a substantial and immediate long-term and infrastructure deficit. As additional information becomes available, council will be required to make difficult decisions regarding timing and prioritization of asset replacement. Reserve and grant funding is critical in meeting the proposed capital plan. We hope to move to a more strategic multi-year 5-year plan implementation. Even post 5 years, there are a number of projects that have been identified, but either due to the high capital requirement or low prioritization are not here shown and not in our preview at this time. A total of 54 million in projects remain unscheduled and mostly underfunded. Continuing to update historic asset management practices to emerging trends to improve transparency and efficiency is a goal moving forward. Just some summary comments, challenges, opportunities. Staff changeover always poses a challenge. Changing the financial reporting to fund capital fully from reserves rather than current operating budget, prior year surpluses and reserves. The overall state of the town's infrastructure and pending debt load. Completing and keeping asset management plans current, incorporating inflation, scope, and cost adjustments within the plan. Our next steps is we have a public input December 15th at 7 p.m. Public to provide input into the general operating budget. We'll then follow up with a special open council meeting on December 16th. Council to deliberate and provide input into the general operating budget. And then into the new year, the regular open council meeting, January 13th, is the possible adoption of the general budget. And that's my report.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Keith. Are there any questions from a lot to absorb, isn't there? Yes. So we're looking forward to hearing from people in the community on the 15th. If they would like to speak, they need to contact the town or and to be on the agenda. And also there's a possibility that you could write or email your concerns and send those into this town, and that would be included in the agenda for the 15th. As you know, well, some of us didn't know that the elementary school had a Christmas concert on the 11th when we had booked the public meeting, and so quite frankly, I did the Christmas concerts in the gym at the Sonora Center for many years, but then it went to afternoon performances. So this is an unusual one. I don't think they normally have it at night, and they are doing it at night, and hopefully a lot of people will go. So that's why we have changed our meeting to the 15th. Anybody have any questions? No. So we're looking to what are we looking to do on this one? Are we're just having it presented, so we're not making any decisions today. Okay, thank you. All right, we're going to move on to the Waste Management Services and Regulation Amendment Bylaw. Are you going to speak to this? No, it's not for adoption, it's just for second and third reading. Am I correct?
That is correct.
Okay, so we need a motion, please, to move to second and third reading. Is that correct? Councillor King, Councillor Cheong, all in favor? Thank you very much. And then we have the sewer. The sewer regulations and rates bylaw, and it has the second and third time it was read on the 18th of November. And so today we're looking for the adoption of this bylaw. Thank you, Councillor Poderica, Councillor Cheong, all in favor. Thank you. All right. We're going to look at council reports. Is there somebody who would like to move there are two of them are here. One is for the mayor to attend a collaborative leadership table over at Loris Melkameen Indian Band for the day. And the other one is from Councillor Bennett, who is at the Okanagan Regional Library Board meeting. One for each. Could we have a motion to accept those, please? Councillor Cheong, Councillor Poderica, all in favor. Thank you. And so from this morning's council meeting, we have committee of the whole meeting. We had some motions that I'm going to bring into this meeting. So we are looking at the that council provide administration with input and direction on the terms of reference for the Child Care Action Plan Committee. Could we have a mover and a seconder for that, please? Councillor Bennett, Councillor Cheong, all in favor. Thank you. And that council approve, same meeting, that council approved the draft terms of reference for the Child Care Action Plan. Could we have Councillor Poderica, Councillor King, all in favor? Thank you. Next is the that the council policy number PLA 016 street food vendor selection and approval policy be replaced with council policy number PLA 016 mobile vendor selection and approval policy. Could we have a motion to? Thank you, Councillor Poderica, Councillor King, all in favor? And that the application to the Agricultural Land Commission to exclude 62 non-agricultural parcels from the Agricultural Land Reserve be initiated. And that staff give notice of the application in accordance with S 29(2)A of the Agricultural Land Commission Act and S 15 of the Agricultural Land Reserve. All right, yep, reserve grant is that it? The reserve? Reserve general regulation. And that the public hearing be scheduled in accordance with S 29(2)B of the Agricultural Land Commission Act for April the 28th, 2026. And that staff give notice of the public hearing in accordance with the requirements of the Local Government Act. We need a motion. Councillor Poderica, Councillor Bennett, all in favor. Thank you. All right. We will now move on to the CAO report, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. Now we're going to start off by talking about our boat trailer parking lot. I guess through the Accessibility and Age-Friendly Committee, they came up with a good idea, and that is to convert it a bit to a dog park during the winter months. And so administration is proceeding in that regard and adding a gate to it, and hopefully get it done prior to winter. So minimal cost, again, came from the Accessibility and Age-Friendly Committee. So it's something that we're going to be moving on here fairly quickly. Registration for the winter program starts tomorrow. So I know there's always a lineup for the popular programs that Community Services offers. Jingle Bell Run happened this past weekend. There was about 20 people that attended. I saw a couple Santa Clauses jogging there. Snowflake Skate is December 20th, 12 to 4. And also for those that want to do some additional skating, there are some opportunities. There's some time slots, the Sun Bowls. And so we strongly encourage you to look online to see what those times actually are. Staffing announcement, Liam Loveridge is our new Corporate Services Administrative Support Clerk. They are actually helping out over on the planning side for now, because we're doing some backfilling. So congratulations to him. Corporate communications, you're probably seeing a bit more activity. We launched a Facebook page a couple of weeks ago, in which there are already just about 450 members. We have a public satisfaction survey going out, and this is really taking a pulse of where we're at today on communications. So we wanted to kind of set the bar where we at and see over the next year with additional communications via feed, Facebook, etc. What actually is happening out there from just attempting to get our messaging out there a little bit more. So that's exciting. As far as new business licenses, short-term rentals, we're getting more of those at Casita del Lago. One or more came in on that. David Kolibaba is in carpentry. Woodbrook Construction, Osoyoos Bowen Therapy and Wellness, and Joycraft Roasters Incorporated. on the building permit side, it's been very busy this past month. And in fact, received about 21 building permits. And to put that in comparison, that's about 30% of our overall total in 2024. So a lot of activity over the past few weeks. And because we're getting closer to Christmas, got to talk about safety messaging from the fire department. Hopefully everybody knows, watch your candles, don't leave them burning without people in the room. Maybe do a double check of your smoke detectors, make sure they're operationally working. And Christmas tree safety, make sure you're using a real tree, make sure it's watered, and use CSA approved lighting. But I know I don't have to talk about that messaging because everybody's gonna have a safe Christmas, but I thought fire department wanted me to say it anyways. And from operational services, the garbage cans, their garbage carts are being rolled out. So I know they're already out in my neighborhood, and hopefully the next couple days they'll be done. And that concludes my report.
Thank you very much, Mr. Risling. Could we have a motion to accept the CAO report for information? Councillor Cheong, Councillor Bennett, all in favor. Thank you. All right, council reports. Councillor King, you're first.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. As you heard from CO Riesling about the accessibility committee moving opening up the boat rental park to dog park for the winter months is very exciting. And it was very supportive to have something on the east side of the bridge. Also, the big shout out to all the volunteers for the Christmas parade. I think it was well received. The different people associated with it, with Rotary doing things down in the park, the fire department with the bonfire and everything. I think it was just a great event, and just thanks again to the committee.
Good idea. Great. Thank you. Councillor Bennett.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. November 26th, attended the TOTA AGM, and they bought out the tourism master plan, and it was excellent, professionally presented, and they elected a new board, and I'm sure that Councillor Poderica will mention more of that as he's our man on the board. And December 1st, I attended the where am I here? Sorry. December 1st, the Trails of the Okanagan, and I announced to them that I talked to RDOS, and some good news. The staff have worked to put a project of having RDS signs coming through from Road 62 to the US border. And there still has to be debated for inclusion by the board through the budget process. So I'm hoping our wonderful mayor will help push that through. And basically the two parts on the highway where we still need to cross or to build a trail so we don't have to cross the highway, that's being held up due to the recent job action at MOTT. And that's my report.
Thank you, Councillor Bennett. Councillor Cheong.
Thank you. November 29th, attended Fire and Ice hosted by Spirit Ridge. Fantastic event. I think this is their 4th year. This year, Spirit Ridge took on the hosting organization by themselves. Yeah, I mean, all you can eat oysters. So I was completely sold. The quality of the event was top tier. So thanks to all the staff there for their amazing work. And then of course we were at Light Up, which was amazing. We do great parades here, and I hope it keeps getting better and better. And then on Sunday, I had the absolute pleasure of attending the high school rendition of Frozen. And having never attended a high school play, I didn't know what to expect. Very, very well done. So thank you to Sarah Gilchrist, who I believe was the director, all the students who were involved, over 120 hours. Yeah, so it's really looking forward to next year's production. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Councillor Poderica.
Thank you, Your Worship. On the 26th, I did attend Destination Suites AGM. That was where we launched our tourism master plan. It is also where we welcomed Brian from the Osoyoos Golf Club to our board. So it's great to have some representation from the golf community back on DO's board. Also, it's great to have Ingrid Jarrett join us. Ingrid's no stranger to tourism in Osoyoos. She was the former, I believe, GM when they first opened Watermark. She was head of BC Hotel Association and now is the new chair for Destination BC as of a few months ago. So great to have Ingrid back in the community. Of course, attend Light Up. Special thanks again, Festival Society, but as well as our operations team. For the last month or so, they've been very busy decorating around town. And on Sunday morning, went over to Watermark and got to meet Sarah. Sarah is our new puppet that was been built over the last month by Juana. I'm sure most saw it during the light up. It's about 17 feet. She's about 17 feet tall. And they've spent about 3.5 weeks every day building the frame and building sewing the material for her clothing. And we'll see her at other events throughout the community. And just thanks to Juana again. That was another great project by them on enhance some arts and culture in our community. And that is my report.
Thank you. So I've been busy as well since the last meeting. Of course, the DO annual meeting of the Tourism 10-year master plan, which was really well received, and it should hopefully last us for 10 years because it's taken us 3 years, those of us on the committee, to get it ready. And I've been at several regional district meetings. The financial plan report from the RDOS, there are, I think, 158 different budgets that the RDOS has to go through rather than like there's slightly less here, 3 or something. And I've been at some board reports or board meetings as well at the regional district. One was the last one, we had the RCMP sergeants from the whole area who were there, and they each provide a little update on their community. And Sergeant Jason Beta was talking about trying to have a public meeting at some time soon. I said that town could certainly help with that. He has some concerns about e-bikes and scooters and things that happen, scams on the phone and that type of thing. And so he's planning to have a public meeting. He's going to get that organized, and we will likely see if we can hold it at the Sonora Center. He also was talking about restorative justice, and that was a program that we had here for quite a few years. I took the course for a couple of days, but it was many years ago, and he's looking to try and increase it. And there are 2 new officers that have joined the department quite recently, and there's an experienced officer who is moving up from Mission as soon as possible, as soon as he can sell his house down there. So that's a good thing. And where else? So I was at Okanagan Basin Water Board. We had a strategic priorities meeting at the Yacht Club in Kelowna, and it was quite nice to be there because they served us a fabulous meal, and we had this beautiful view the whole day, although it was snowing the whole way I went up and back, so that was unfortunate. The ETSI-BC Economic Trust of the Southern Interior. I'm the chair of the Thompson Okanagan RAC committee, where we look at all of the applications for funding. We had that meeting. We had a board policy review meeting, and we've had another board meeting where we okayed all the fall funding, over $1 million in funding. That happens twice a year, so that's a really good one to belong to. I also attended at Chief Louis' request. I attended a council meeting at the OIB. They wanted me to talk about the water quality, the International Lake Osoyoos Border Control, and the things that we're doing, possibly turning it into a watershed board, and they were interested in getting involved. And yesterday I was on the International Lake Osoyoos Border Control quarterly meeting, where we do an update every couple of months. So those were all things that I've been doing, but I really want to talk about Christmas Light Up. Amazing. And quite frankly, the float and all of the things that the Festival Society gets organized are incredible group of volunteers. The town amazing lights. And we have so many people that say, oh, thank you, they look terrific. So thanks to Operational Services for all of that. And for taking our tree from the lobby here a week before and decorating the truck and putting all kinds of blow up things on the roof. It was amazing. And thanks to our CAO for driving that truck, although he speeds up a little bit. And some of us were handing out candy and lots of things along the way. It was really, really good. And I just want to say thank you to everybody. The Rotary get involved. Smitty's put on a pancake breakfast. The Osoyoos Fireworks Committee puts on fireworks down at the beach. And all of the stores get so involved in helping and promoting Osoyoos. And, we have to say, and I've often said it at this time of year, make sure that you are shopping locally, if at all possible. We need to support the businesses in our community, and I know that the businesses really appreciate it. So seeing as this is the last board meeting before Christmas, I just want to wish everybody a very Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, all the best in 2026. And I will move on to the in-camera portion of our meeting that pursuant to section 991 of the Community Charter, a part of the council meeting may be closed to the public. The subject matter being considered relates to one or more of the following. So section 91C, labor relations or other employee relations. So thank you. A motion?
Please to move into in camera.
Oh, absolutely. Could we have a motion to move? One, two, pick two. Thank you.